Says rainfall 3773. Plus. 5N0W. Says storm shadow 12 oh hello JHR. Says QWERTY board 4824 hidden my wounds wings. Says Slothy 5416 high. Says Nemo hoses. Plus. Oh. Says Lacey Nickel 97058. Plus. QWERTY I broke my leg. Says Teapot 10838 HUU Holy Page 2W. Says Slothy 5416 oh no. Says Rainfall 3773. Plus. Hi Sloth. Says JHR 1317 by am going to bed. Says Quicksilver 17 the pen's not penning. Says Lacey Nickel 97058. Plus. Melon. I got you bro. Says Storm Shadow 12 by E. Says Chaser C Gamer. You. Everybody settle down. Says Slothy 5416 wah. Says Storm Shadow 12 no. Says Slothy 5416 Quicksilver what? Says Quicksilver 17 quick. Says Storm Shadow 12 sup Lacey you okay? Says QWERTY board 4824 following storm. Says Slothy 5416 okay SRY. Says Quicksilver 17 it's quick. Says Shadow Cloud 2321. You. Lacey. Says Slothy 5416 okay. Says Quicksilver 17 it fine. Join our Discord. Run Discord or visit Discord GG Hive. Says Nread 7294 I want to go on Hive. Says Lacey Nickel 97058. Plus. Melon. No he fell and broke his leg since the water was iced. Says Slothy 5416 are you okay Lacey? Says Storm Shadow 12 ah yeesh you need help? Says Chaser C Gamer. You. Cancel party. Says Shadow Cloud 2321. You. Uses Christmas magic and heals his leg. Says Void's Voice 1022. Drinks the rest of my hot chocolate. Says Slothy 5416 that's not how that works. Says Lacey Nickel 97058. Plus. Melon. He been calling for help outside but you just left him there. Says Slothy 5416 where is he? Says Chaser C Gamer. You. Shut up. Says Storm Shadow 12 I'm sorry. I couldn't hear you. Says Twakung 31 Lacey did you like dinner? Oh no you okay? Says Lacey Nickel 97058. Plus. Melon. Because he almost froze to death. Says Storm Shadow 12 I sincerely apologize my dude. Says Lacey Nickel 97058. Plus. No Melon I was not. Says Teapot 10838 HUU Urala play sucks by the way. Says Slothy 5416 Lacey where are I'm coming? Says Slothy 5416 where are you? Says Rainfall 3773. Plus. No it doesn't. Says QWERTY board 4824 watching. Says Lacey Nickel 97058. Plus. Melon. I'm taking him in his room now. Says Rainfall 3773. Plus. Rala plays are fun. Says Storm Shadow 12 sorry. I was being shot with arrows. Says Slothy 5416 but where? Says Storm Shadow 12 oh okay Saya Lacey. Says Lacey Nickel 97058. Plus. Melon. You shouldn't have started walking again outside and you made it even worse. Says Twakung 31 I'm a make desert kids we having cheesecake. Says Storm Shadow 12 get better soon. Says Void's Voice 1022. Falls asleep. Says Slothy 5416 I can help him where is he? Says Teapot 10838 HUU 1v1 me. Says Lacey Nickel 97058. Plus. Melon. If you have broken leg I think it's going take 3 weeks to heal. Says Teapot 10838 HUU on bed worse. Says Storm Shadow 12 I thinks I have a Says Twakung 31 cooks cheesecake. says Jasink. Says Shadow Cloud 2321. You. Snowball fight, says Slothy 5416. Oh, the whole time right? Says Slothy 5416 in front of me, says Shadow Cloud 2321. You. Help, I am getting violated, says Storm Shadow 12. I get the feeling I'm being watched, followed. Says Storm Shadow 12. I will protect you. Comma, didn't get your store purchase? Try Fixper case. Tasking Metal 146 claimed a December daily gift, says Twakung 31 NT, and here puts your soup on table and pours you hot cocoa, says Storm Shadow 12. Back off mate, says Slothy 5416. You good Lacey, says Lacey Nickel 97,058. Plus, no, Prayments has dropped a gift. Can you find it first? Says QWERTYboard 4824. See-through wall, says Lacey Nickel 97,058. Plus, I broke my leg. Prayments' gift was found, says Slothy 5416. Okay, don't move, says Slothy 5416. Sit, says Storm Shadow 12. It's okay, I won't let him get you, says Slothy 5416. I have a first aid kit, says Lacey Nickel 97,058. Plus, melon, and you made it worse, you know it cracked again, says Shadow Cloud 2321. You. Snowball fight, says Slothy 5416. Oh my, says Storm Shadow 12. Yes, says Teapot 10838. HUU holy simp, says Void's voice 1022. Wakes up, says Slothy 5416. Just sit, says Twakung 31. Girls let's play in snow, says Orig 2636. EZZ, says Shadow Cloud 2321. You. Okay, says Storm Shadow 12. Back off. Watermelon ZZS 15 has gone offline, says Lacey Nickel 97,058. Plus, melon. Hey Lacey, Evie is online, says Slothy 5416. Oh, says QWERTYboard 4824. My wounds wings scare twak, says Slothy 5416. My, says Teapot 10838. HUU get juked, says Lacey. Says Storm Shadow 12. Back the frick off from my bestie, says Lacey Nickel 97,058. Plus, I am, says Slothy 5416. I'm gonna bandage your leg, that might hurt, says QWERTYboard 4824. Watching. Prayments has dropped a gift. Can you find it first? Says Lacey Nickel 97,058. Plus, I won't roar, says Slothy 5416. Okay, says Lacey Nickel 97,058. Plus, melon. Lies, says Rainfall 3. Alicut 063 has dropped a gift. Can you find it first? Says Shadow Cloud 2321. You. Hahaha snowball fight. Prayments' gift was found, says Slothy 5416. Bandages. Alicut 063's gift was found. Says Lacey Nickel 97,058. Plus, no, says QWERTYboard 4824. Watching, says Slothy 5416. What? Says Form. Says Lacey Nickel 97,058. Plus, that it's not hurting, says Storm Shadow 12. AYYY, says Tasking Metal 146. Tau to State Foe. Tau to State Flow. On Esendorotsu Unciel Du. Deuce per. Delasux. La Enfant Chantant Don Lesu, says Rainfall 3773. Plus, Weather Trio, says Slothy 5416. Moi, says Storm Shadow 12. Hiai Ginger, says Twakung 31. Says Slothy 5416. That's very concerning, says Tasking Metal 1. Comma, need help? Go to supportplayhive.com. Says Tasking Metal 146. High. says Tasking Metal 146 High Cloud. Says Lacey Nickel 97,058. Plus, Melon. So since you broke your leg Lacey you are not leaving without a wheelchair, says QWERTYBOARD 4800. Says Twakung 30. Says Slothy 5416 I can just use my axolotl, says Lacey Nickel 97,058. Plus, I don't got a wheelchair. Says Slothy 5416 I said I can just use my axolotl. Says Lacey Nickel 97,058. Plus, Melon. Or he can use me remember, says Shadow Cloud 2321. You. Yells I do Lacey, says Slothy 5416 lay down. Stop moving, says Storm Shadow 12 OMG stop, says Slothy 5416 MBY, says QWERTYBOARD 4824 following storm. Says Tasking Metal 146 Mind. Go dream dream on go dream dream on go go dream on bad day gone. Says Slothy 5416 FR though. Says Lacey Nickel 97,058. Plus, Melon. Evie we are having a difficulty right now of Lacey so everything is fine, says Shadow Cloud 2321. You. Storm XDD, says Tasking Metal 146 Mind. Where's Lacey? Says Slothy 5416 LOL, says Lacey Nickel 97,058. Plus, oh my god, says Storm Shadow 12 Wah, says Slothy 5416 OMG, says Slothy 5416, Forming Conk 371 claimed a December daily gift, says Shadow Cloud 2321. You. Help I am getting violated, says QWERTYBOARD 4824 watching, says Twakung 31 ice skating, says Lacey Nickel 97,058. Plus, Goward 1. Boss you okay? Barnaby Lamine claimed a December daily gift, says QWERTYBOARD 4824 scream like a dinosaur in the distant, says Lacey Nickel 97,058. Plus, yep I just broke my leg right now, says Slothy 5416 E, says Shadow Cloud 2321. You. Ice scatting, says Slothy 5416 yeah, says Lacey Nickel 97,058. Plus, but it's bad, says Quicksilver 17 I'm a ruin, says Slothy 5416 Ike, says Storm Shadow 12 Oki, says Tasking Metal 146 Tau to State Foe. Tau to State Flow, says Slothy 5416 I'm going to give you a shot so you don't get sick, says Quicksilver 17 Ice skating, says Slothy 5416 now that might hurt a lot, says Lacey Nickel 97,058. Plus, Goward 1. I will lead the EMI for now when you get better. Creeper 100,000 claimed a December daily gift, says QWERTYBOARD 4824 watching. Mr. Scoop 3246 claimed a December daily gift, says Gamer M 159,484 does anyone go to Fiedler Elementary, says Slothy 5416 ready, says Twakung 31 does backflip lands in splits, says Slothy 5416 oh dang, says Lacey Nickel 97,058. Plus, thanks, says Storm Shadow 12 high, says Slothy 5416 that's gotta hurt, says Slothy 5416 HW, says Tasking Metal 146 high storm, says Slothy 5416 ew, says Shadow Cloud 2321. You. Evie I had that skin at one point lol, says Teapot 10,838 HUU juked, says Lacey Nickel 97,058. Plus, Melon. Hey Evie we are in the purple room right now, says Storm Shadow 12 how you doin's, found someone breaking the rules? Report them with report, says Tasking Metal 146 LOL I went from Evie to Ginger by the way, says Lacey Nickel 97,058. Plus. You serious dude? Says Slothy 5416 Yep. Says Shadow Cloud 2321. You. Can you juke this? Says Quicksilver 17 My arm hurts. Says Slothy 5416 Wait wah. Says Denakid 030408 Eavesdropping. Says Quicksilver 17 You ran over me. Says Storm Shadow 12 Eat Laser Sucker. Says Gamer M159484 No one answered. Says QWERTYBoard 4824 Storm See Me and I Fly Away. Says QWERTYBoard 4824 Watching. Says Storm Shadow 12 Weird. Says Gamer M159484. Says Lacey Nickel 97058. Plus. Melon. Yet every time when the weather changes the room and everything change. Says Shadow Cloud 2321. You. Is QWERTY good? Says Tasking Metal 146 Mind. Go dream on go dream on go dream on bad day gone. Says Slothy 5416 okay? Says Lacey Nickel 97058. Plus. Melon. And this is supposed to be the purple room Slothy. Says Storm Shadow 12 IDK She's been watching me. Says Shadow Cloud 2321. You. Eat Lasser Sucker. Says Slothy 5416 okay. Says Twakung 31 does backflip lands in splits but slips and landscape ahead. Says Shadow Cloud 2321. Says Quicksilver 17 Not TGE way I drew my arms bone and my fingers. Says Lacey Nickel 97058. Plus. Melon. Slothy go and get TH here. Says Jasink they don't notice us. Says Quicksilver 17 the. Says Sloth. Says Shadow Cloud 2321. You. Slips. Wah. Namanakishi claimed a December daily gift. Says Storm Shadow 12. Says Twakung 31 does backflip lands in splits but slips and lands on head. Says Tasking Metal 146 Skating. Says Teapot 10838 HUU Cornball Alert. Says Shadow Cloud 2321. You. Nur I don't wanna become Jack Frost. Says Denakid 0. Says Quicksilver 17 XD.